the greatest big man ever, in my opinion. I'm not talking Undertaker type guys where they're so tall. I'm talking guys that were like really big and stout. I'm saying like a Yokozuna or guys like that. So I think Vader is probably number one for the big man, and this guy's not too far behind. It is Bam Bam Bigelow.
What's important is that Bam Bam Bigelow stepped up, and I repeat, stepped up to the challenge and went out and took on a hardcore match.
All right, so Bam Bam Bigelow. The issue with Bigelow always is the face. He was on black rubber, so you always see his nose has a little bit of rubber showing through. Same with his knuckles and his fist. The paint on the body is absolutely incredible, though. The flames are still very, very vibrant. So I'd probably give this a solid 7. You're always going to see that, unless he's carded, you're going to see that wear on his hands. The paint on his head is also in very good condition. That also wears off usually fairly quick. But I'm going to give him a 7 just because it is a very touch-and-go type figure. Like usually to find one extremely mint, they go for a fortune. If you can find one carded, they do very well as well. It's just one of those things that the least amount of defects on this, the better, obviously, but it's really hard to find them absolutely perfect because they were on the black rubber and because there's just so much detail there with the paint on the outfit as well. Really cool. Moving past Bam Bam. This guy had a very famous match with Andre the Giant. It's Big John Studd, the $10,000 body slam match. Big John Studd is a common figure. His paint's pretty good on him. He's got a little bit of wear on the inside of his leg there. But other than that, his face looks good. His beard was awesome. Big John Studd was a big dude. Like he was near. He wasn't as big as Andre, but when they stood next to each other, he didn't make him look small by any means. I'd say Big John Studd probably close to 7 feet tall himself. Just a massive man. Reminds me a lot of like a Braun Strowman type guy now, but I think Big John Studd might have been a little bit leaner, especially in his prime. Braun's a little thicker, but yeah, and he also had cooler hair. But anyways, 1984 with the Big John Studd, so one of the first series to come out as well. Probably a solid 7 on that. A little bit of wear on the inside of his legs. It's just paint, though. Paint that's probably able to come off. The one that everybody talks about, we're going to go with Bruno San Martino now. Never watched him. Bruno San Martino, not from my time frame, my generation. So I never really cared for this figure when I was younger. Actually, when I seen it, in the toy box, I'm like, who's that? I don't even want to play with it. But anyways, Bruno San Martino, not in the best of shape by any means. His boots are good. A little bit of wear on his back heel. His hair is a little worn, so and then a little bit of paint there. So it's not the best of shape figures. It was in the collection though, so we're going to show it off. Bruno San Martino, obviously. Sold out, the big thing, he sold out the Garden X amount of times. Like, okay, Also, people thought wrestling was real back then. So, it's, you know what I mean? We mentioned him earlier, and we're going to show him to you. Getting his collar on here. It's the Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog, awesome figure. He's got his chain there. If you want to push the.
I keep looking each and every day, pull up that ladder. That thing's getting better. Put an old nasty dog.
We got a really nice Junkyard Dog here. Really no paint issues. The artwork on the side of his boot is still vibrant on both sides. His boots both look really good. I'm just looking, 1984 on Junkyard Dog as well. No issues, just his one eyebrow is just a little worn there. But the chain, obviously, very, very hard to find the chain. The chain usually sells in the $30, $40 range by itself. Obviously, like we said earlier, these would be sold as is. And if anybody's interested in any of these, definitely let us know after the show. We are probably about halfway through right now. Junkyard Dog. We've got the voice of the WWF at the time coming up. we've got the Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene recently passed away. The most recognizable voice in WWE history, if I would say so.
Here with the brand new World Wrestling Federation champion, Hulk Hogan. You proved it to thousands and thousands of fans, not only here tonight in Madison Square Garden, but throughout the wrestling world.
It was amazing. They proved it to themselves. All I asked was for the whole WWE to stand behind the holster, and I told them I'd bring it home for the USA.
There we go. You know something, Mean Gene? We got a little bit more tissue paper on him there, but that's nothing to be worried about. Mean Gene Okerlund. So Mean Gene, as you said, or as I said, the voice of the WWE. So for the longest time, always did the in-ring or the backstage interviews. Good friends with Hogan. Basically played off each other. He's just as responsible for Hulkamania as I say Vince McMahon probably. That sounds a little bit crazy, but this is the guy that always put guys over in interviews and made them look good, or made them look bad if that was his job as well. The heels, obviously, he'd work with them and make them look stupid, and the faces, the good guys, he'd make them look like heroes. So Mean Gene Okerlund, probably the most important guy in the WWE other than Vince McMahon back in the 80s, if I do say so. He's the reason that guys got over or didn't get over, in my opinion, especially during interviews. And, you know, he never dropped the ball either, so he was always a professional. You see some of the bloopers online. He's always funny. But Mean Gene Okerlund. Mrs. Mean Gene, but you get older and sometimes you can't be with us for the, you know. But anyways, up next we have the Killer Bees. Whoa. I was never a fan of the Killer Bees. I thought these outfits were ridiculous. One thing I always hated about these outfits is their butts. So they're the only ones that have, like, defined butts. You see their butt?
Yeah.
So, like, every other figure had a rounded butt. You didn't have to see their butt cracks. But for whatever reason, they're like, hey, let's give the Killer Bees, like, sweet-looking butts. You know, like, I don't know. I think it was... I can't even remember their names right now. Do you remember? Brian Blair, I think, and this Rougeau. Is that Rougeau? I wish our comments were working so I could get some info off you guys. But I think it's Brian Blair and Rougeau, the Canadian guy. I think they're both Canadians actually, but not in the best of shape. A little bit of wear on this, but it's mostly paint. So, like I said, magic eraser on these. Somebody played with their Killer Bees. Reminds me so much of The Simpsons where Flanders is wearing the tight pants. He's like, it's like you're wearing nothing at all. And he's like, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Just a ridiculous butt on them. I hate these figures. There's not many LJNs that I'm just like, I don't want to play with them, or I don't want them. These are two figures that I'm just like, you know, I just want them gone. So anyways, the Killer Bees, not my favorite. Another guy that's was extremely popular back in the day. We didn't see him at his best, though. Obviously, most of his career was spent elsewhere in the territories. Greg the Hammer Valentine. I always thought Greg the Hammer Valentine looked like a woman. That might sound bad, but his hair was just ridiculously over the top. He had like really poofy cheeks. And it looked like he was always wearing makeup. It just one of those things where he just looked like a woman, and I'm like, I can't cheer for him because it's not fair. You know what I mean? Greg the Hammer Valentine, another one of the figures that is fairly common. A little bit more wear on this one. Obviously, probably played with quite a bit because Greg the Hammer had a ton of rivalries back then with guys like Piper and Hogan, and he always seemed to be the bad guy. I think he worked alongside Ted DiBiase as well a little bit. So, yeah, Greg the Hammer Valentine. Probably like a 5 out of 10. He's probably one of the not so great condition ones that was in the collection. Moving on. Do we have the Russian national anthem by any means?
I don't.
No? So we have with his hat, the Nikolai Volkov. He was the enemy back in the day when Hogan was pro-America, and he was fighting the Sheik and Nikolai Volkov from the USSR. So we've got a really nice Volkov here. That's just that tissue paper again, so it just rubs off. I believe he separated these by tissue paper, so obviously we said these are really sticky. They get that stickiness to them over time. So we've got the almost mint condition Nikolai Volkov here. Obviously that's 1984. I believe that's first series as well, or first or second series by any means. USSR very prominent on his shirt there. Just a really nice figure. I would say I would give it honestly probably a solid 8 out of 10 as far as condition goes. His hat's in perfect condition. One of the easier accessories to find, actually. We have, with more tissue paper on him, SD Jones, SmackDown Jones. Another guy that I don't think I ever seen wrestle as a kid. I don't remember him at all. Not sure why he was in the set, to be honest with you. But he's in phenomenal shape. He's got a few variations. His shirts change with the other ones. I believe we do have another one. So we've got a SmackDown Jones. I won't say too much about him because I don't really know a whole lot about his career. But he is in perfect shape by all means. Easily a 9. His bandana's great. Again, probably because no one played with him because we didn't really know who he was back then. We were playing with guys like Roddy Piper and Macho Man, the guys that we wanted to see on TV and such. Where did that other box?
I put the box underneath.
Okay, we're just going to separate these, move these over right now. Some more coming. We're probably about halfway through. We do have the big surprise at the end. When we purchased this collection, all I could see were the loose figures on top. When I got to the bottom of the bin, there's the bird there. He's going to fall. When I got to the bottom of the bin, I didn't realize that there were carded figures. And I messaged the seller and I said, hey, do you have any Hasbros? Hasbros are my favorite line because they move into the 90s and they contain characters that I really connected with, like Doink the Clown, Shawn Michaels, those kind of guys, Crush, stuff that I was watching when, I was a young kid. Papa Shango, awesome. Obviously, we know he went on to play Godfather, other characters as well. But anyways,
your favorite was Gold Dust, admit it.
Goldust, I did like Goldust. Goldust was an awesome character. Just one of those things where I was looking for Hasbro, and I said, "Hey, do you have any Hasbros?" He's like, "Yeah, I threw a couple Jake the Snakes in the bottom of the box for you." So I was like, "Okay, a couple loose Jake Hasbros." I'm like, "That's cool." Wait till you see this. Up next, we will go with just recently passed. Actually, we've got the Kamala. Again, a really hard figure to find with the paint still vibrant on his chest. His moon is a little bit worn just on the tip there, but the white on him is actually in really, really good shape. Of course, I don't know why he has no groin, but it's the way they painted him. They should have brought his
trunks, at least?
Trunks down a little bit lower. Everybody wants to know what happened to him there. A terrible farming accident. Yeah. So Kamala, obviously, just recently the video was released of him slamming Andre the Giant. I loved when he slammed him and then he stopped and did his little dance and hit his belly. It's just awesome. Do we have a Kamala?
I have nothing for
I thought we had the rest in peace Undertaker.
Oh, I do have the Undertaker.
We do have. It's not out of poor taste. We just want to, we wish that he rest in peace.
You will rest in peace.
He struggled with his health for quite some time, so I believe he was diabetic. Had some serious issues. So unfortunately, he has passed now. Up next, we have, where is he? It's a lot of fun. The Slick figure. Slick with his hat. He's got his accessory. He's got his hat. Slick was a manager, obviously. For those of you that maybe don't know, Slick was a heel manager most of his career. Managed guys like One Man Gang. Who else did he manage? Do you remember?
I don't even know that guy.
Yeah, so Brandon's not a huge wrestling guy. Do you remember anybody that he managed? Slick? No? Anyways, I know he managed One Man Gang. Just really funny. One of those guys that did anything to be a heel manager. Really good condition. He's got a little bit of wear on his vest there, the gray showing through, as you guys can see. Probably like a 7 out of 10. His digits are still there. His finger's always missing. This one's actually a little bit, you better be careful with that. That finger right there poking me in the eye, that's usually always missing on him. Feel how like loose that is there. Or not loose, but just...
Oh yeah, it's pretty pliable.
It's pretty fragile. So Slick's one of those really cool figures. Up next, one of the hardest figures to find in good condition because of the face. We have Demolition. A lot of people don't know they were set to release the second Axe and Smash. Looks like he's got some issues with him. Okay, it's just more paper, more tissue paper. Actually, there's some blue tissue paper on him. I thought there was a lot of paint damage there, but he's actually really good. The black paint on him, the vest, everything about him. His face, though, is the main thing. His paint is usually always worn off on his face for figures that were played with. He's got his knuckles done up there. Pretty cool figure. I would say this is a solid... his boots are just a little worn on the bottom, actually. That's just from standing and jumping and stuff with them. So because of the boots, I'd probably give him a 6 or a 7. But the face would sell this figure quite easily. Most people don't really worry about the boots too much. It's the face. They want the face paint to be good. Everything else can be cleaned up on them. It's just a lot of tissue paper residue and stuff like that. So really cool Demolition figure. Up next, one of the all-time fan favorites. Thank God I'm a country boy. We've got the Hillbilly Jim with his hat. Hillbilly Jim, very famous. I really enjoyed him on the Legends House program. Hillbilly Jim looks to be in solid condition. Another one of those figures that you couldn't really do much with him back in the day because he was so bulky. He's just in a stance where he didn't do much when you tried to play with him. I always like the guys that have their arms up over the heads because you can slam guys. This is just more of a posable figure in my opinion. But he's a solid 8 out of 10 in condition. His hat's in perfect shape. Yeah, I'd go probably an 8 out of 10 on the Hillbilly Jim. It is a common, though. You do see him out all the time. Usually if you see these in flea markets, you'll see like a Hillbilly Jim. Sometimes you see a Hogan, a Macho. They made the most of those guys, obviously. Up next, we have Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Where is Brutus at? Maybe we don't have Brutus. Oh, sorry. Looking right at him. We don't have his clippers by any means. Actually, I don't think he came with clippers with that. I know the Hasbro figure does have clippers, but Brutus the Barber, I don't ever remember him looking that young. Brutus the Barber to me was always long hair. This guy's got short hair. Another guy, really good friends with Hogan, probably carried him most of his career. Kept him in work anyways. He followed him to WCW. So Brutus and Hogan, really good friends. Brutus was a good worker, but, when you're best friends with Hulk Hogan, like the Nasty Boys are, like a couple other guys, you'll keep your job because you don't want to offend anybody or they don't want to offend Hogan, let's put it that way. So when he's making that kind of money for you. So Brutus the Beefcake, I would give this a 9. All the paint on him is really good. I really like his boots. He's got the silver running up his boots. I think that's awesome. It looks like white from a distance, but it's actually metallic.
Yep.
So he's got really nice boots, actually. And his hair is fantastic. So there's no issues there with his hair at all. Looks like he was using some definite grease in there.
Styling. That
is some greasy hair. I just don't remember him with short hair, but I do remember the figure, obviously, like I had it when I was a kid. George the Animal Steel. So George the Animal Steel with the green tongue.
Valentine candy. Elizabeth like grape.
One of the best storylines in WWF history, WWF at the time, was the Macho Man, George the Animal Steel, Miss Elizabeth, where he kidnapped Elizabeth. It was kind of like King Kong grabs the girl. But George the Animal Steel actually played kind of an idiot on TV, like he was, you didn't know too much, but he was actually a university professor. So just one of those things where he just wanted to be complete opposite in the ring from what he was in real life. University in Michigan, I think. I don't know if it was University of Michigan or a university in Michigan, but he is a university professor. So I'm not sure if he's even with us anymore, but this is a really cool figure. It's one of the only ones that has a texture on him. So he's got the hair. I wish they would have actually made the hair, brown, so he looked a little bit cooler. But actually, I think he had all white hair, so it kind of makes sense. But Georgie Animal Steel, a really cool figure. I love the green tongue there. His facial features are all still really good. Pretty much as close to perfect as you're going to get for a George the Animal Steel. I would probably say at least a 9 on it. They probably don't even come this nice fresh out of the package. Somebody took really good shape of that, or took really good care of that figure. So, George the Animal Steel. Moving on to, you all know him as the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart, one of the most, I would say Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, up there as the 2 most famous managers ever.
This is Jimmy Hart, baby, the Mouth of the South.
That's right, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, coming with a megaphone. Another guy that kind of followed Hogan his entire career. He went with him to WCW, was his manager there. Jimmy Hart basically managed everybody at some point in his career. Really nice looking figure. He's got the music notes on his jacket still. His hair is still good. His glasses are really good. I wish we had a Bret Hart to show you how bad glasses can get. It always wears off. If you guys watch, I keep going back to Legends House, but if you guys watch Legends House, Jimmy Hart was hilarious. He always eats beans and baked potato. That's all he eats, beans and baked potato. I don't know, it's just one of those things that was his go-to in the house, beans and baked potatoes. So Jimmy Hart, still alive, still doing well, I think. Probably in his 70s now, maybe. Up next, another guy that I don't remember watching too much. I do know who he is, the Magnificent Morocco. I don't remember watching him too much, though, when I was younger. He's not in the best of shape. He's got a little bit of wear to him. His boots are okay. His hair is, like I said, I always go to the hair first and the digits. His hands are good. His hair does have some wear at the front there. Magnificent Morocco, I would say this is probably like a 6 because of the hair. Everything else seems to be pretty good. The tights, obviously these need to be, they're pretty good. They're pretty shiny. They're really clean, but they can still always be cleaned up a little bit better. As I said, though, here at the shop, we usually leave that to the buyer. A lot of people don't like their figures to be altered in any ways, cleaned or anything. They like to do that. So we kind of leave them that way. You buy them as is. So Magnificent Morocco. I just don't remember him too much. I actually remember maybe early WrestleManias. I think WrestleMania 3 was on the card that I watched, but not too much of Morocco in my memory bank anyways. Up next, probably the, no pun intended, but the biggest wrestling star in history, maybe aside from Hulk Hogan. It is the Andre the Giant. This is the long hair Andre. They do have different versions of him. There's the short hair Andre where he's got the buzz cut. Andre the Giant, if you haven't seen the HBO documentary yet, I highly recommend you watch it.
He is 7 foot 4 3/4. He weighs 485 pounds.
Andre the Giant. He was a box office draw. A lot of people can't stand today's wrestling because of Brock Lesnar. What they're doing with Brock Lesnar is what they used to try and do with Andre the Giant. So very limited viewability. You guys don't understand that when you see them every week on TV, you get sick of them. You're seeing that right now with current wrestling. You just see the same characters every week. That's why a guy like Andre the Giant, a guy like Brock Lesnar, when they do show up, it's for the most important things. And you can agree with me or not, but Brock Lesnar is the closest thing that WWE has to a box office draw nowadays. He does make them money. I tune in to see Brock Lesnar, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that tune in to see him, just like people tuned in to see Andre the Giant back in the day. This figure is probably a solid 8 out of 10. A little bit of wear on the boots, just around the edges. The hair is really good, actually. Just a few specks on the back showing through. But this is this is the long hair Andre, so it's a little bit harder to get perfect hair because he has more. But there's actually 3 different Andres. There's the long hair. There's this exact figure with short hair. And then there's the Blackstrap Andre, which is basically just a repaint with the short hair Andre. Blackstrap is obviously they call him Evil Andre. This is back when Andre was just Andre. He wasn't mean or angry so they call him Evil Andre because he went after Hogan, right? So if you want to be the biggest bad guy in the company, you attack Hulk Hogan. So anyways, next up, if I can find him, we have Billy Jack Haynes, another guy that I don't remember too much about. Is this his hat? I'm pretty sure this is his hat.
Looks like the only one you...
Yeah, I think this is his hat. I can't remember his accessory, but it was sitting next to him, so I'm assuming this is his hat. Billy Jack Haynes from Oregon. I believe he was a strongman, I can't remember too much about him. The paint on this guy, I'd say it's probably a solid 6. Oregon on his boots is still very visible. On the back of his tights, just a little bit of wear. On his arms, the tassels are a little worn as well. His hat's in really good shape, if that is his hat. That might be... Honestly, I believe that might be Terry Funk's hat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we were showing you Terry Funk's hat, maybe. Yeah, I think the hat goes with... We'll show Terry Funk now. He's got his cattle prod, too. Whoever the hat goes with, you got...
And I'm gonna beat on you and beat on you so I never have to mess with you again.
My favorite quote from Terry Funk is, "I ain't got time to bleed."
That's Jesse Ventura.
Oh, sorry, that's Jesse Ventura. We got that coming, too. Terry Funk, man, I'm having a bad night here. Missing the hats. I don't know what's going on. But he's got his cattle prod there, which is one of his main accessories. One of the harder accessories to find as well. Anything other than hats is kind of hard to find nowadays. So I'll get Terry Funk down. We've got about, I'd say 7 or 8 more figures to go for the loose figures. We'll go with Johnny Valiant. Honestly, don't remember too much about him. Think he's kind of creepy looking, to be honest with you. Another guy like Classy Freddie Blassie. He was a manager. Not a huge fan of this figure by any means. He looks like he should be in Ninja Turtles, maybe. Just kind of out there with the color. Yeah, the weird look to him. It's definitely 80s, 70s, 80s, but...
looks like poor man's Hogan.
Yeah, poor man's Hulk Hogan. Little dude, made a living in professional wrestling, but I don't remember too much about Johnny Valiant, to be honest with you. Figure's not in the best of shape either. His feet have some wear. His face and his hair is pretty good, but, a little bit of paint wear everywhere else on him, so I'd probably give him about a 6. He's very, very low price common. Up next, we did... we'll go with Jesse Ventura now. So we have Jesse Ventura. You guys know Jesse's very famous.
I ain't got time to bleed.
That's right, he ain't got time to bleed. The famous quote from Predator. I got my quotes mixed up. Jesse Ventura, very flamboyant with the pink pants. Always wore the boa, the feathered boa to the ring. Became an announcer late in his career. Became a pretty big movie star for some movies, including Predator. And then he obviously became the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah,
so he had a pretty good run. Very outspoken his entire life. I believe he's actually a Navy SEAL in real life, too.
I have no idea.
He was a serious dude. I don't think you wanted to mess with him outside of the ring. That's what I'm saying. Jesse Ventura, really good shape. A little bit of wear on the boots, like you see with most of them we've been talking about. Probably like an 8. I think the bandana, everything looks good. The hair looks good. I always thought he kind of looked like Hogan, so I was like, why do they have 2 guys that look like that? That's when I was a kid, right? So, up next, he was in WrestleMania 1, I believe, Paul Orndorff. I believe he tagged with Rowdy Piper to fight Hogan and Mr. T. So, Paul Orndorff, again, one of these guys that he was a big name coming. WWF at that time was still getting its footing. It was mostly about territories back then. So WrestleMania 1 kind of just broke the mold, and they were trying to bring out the biggest names from all the territories in. Paul Orndorff was a big heel at the time. Unbelievable physique. I think that's why they wanted him to go against Hogan. He was the most ripped guy other than Hogan, I believe. Ventura would have been one of the guys too, but they needed a bad guy, and I think Jesse was kind of like in the middle. So they went with him and Roddy Piper, and they lost to Mr. T and Hogan, so it didn't really matter. Hogan beat Bundy in WrestleMania 2. Hogan beat Andre in WrestleMania 3. A lot of debate out there who made WrestleMania, Vince McMahon or Hulk Hogan, but I think they equally made it. But I will give Vince this, that WrestleMania is a massive event now, with or without Hulk Hogan. But I think Hulk definitely got it established back then. Up next, who do we got here? This is Ted Arcedi, I believe. I don't even know who this guy is. He's one of the ones that I always got to look up because I can never remember his name. I believe he was an Olympian, if I recall, or a collegiate wrestler. Just a guy that he looks like a bouncer at the bar type thing. Not a big star by any means. I don't think. I was talking to a guy about him the other day, and he didn't. He's a huge wrestling historian, and he didn't even really remember him that much for how long he was there. Ted Arcedi, not too much about him. Pretty banged up too. His hair's kind of worn. It's probably a middle of the road. If you wanted one to complete your collection, probably a 5 out of 10. All right. We have no idea why he looks so plum.
Yeah, he's purple.
But he's always had like a purple tinge to him. The Ken Patera, World Strongman Ken Patera. I do remember Ken Patera, but I don't remember him ever being a huge star. But this figure has always been off-colored in a way. It's like the mold was, or the mix was bad when they made the mold. He's almost like a pink or plum color. Probably like a 6 out of 10 on this. His hair is pretty good. His tights do have a little bit of wear up by the WWE logo there, or WWF. So probably about a 6 out of 10. I'm just trying to round these out so we can get to the really good stuff here. We do have the skirt for Elizabeth. I can't find it right now. Miss Elizabeth, obviously, everybody loves Elizabeth. Do you have the sound effects for Elizabeth at all? No? Miss Elizabeth married Macho Man in real life. They were actually married prior to the marriage on television, but it made for good TV. The most famous women's valet ever, or manager ever in WWE history, followed probably by like Sensational or Scary Sherry. I wish they would have made a Sherry LJN because she was obviously awesome too. But Miss Elizabeth in really good shape. Missing the skirt though, so but I do have it somewhere. She did come with 2 different colored skirts. She had purple and or pink, purple and or gold, and I think one has more value than the others. You're going to see another one pretty soon, actually. One of the biggest heels in the day, actually hilarious to follow on Twitter. If you guys don't follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter, it's definitely worth a laugh. Shiki, he goes by Shiki. Obviously the Iron Sheik, really, really good condition on the Iron Sheik here. His tights are almost in perfect shape. Again, we're having some issues with just the paper on the figures themselves. It's not doing anything to cause any condition issues, but his mustache, we got this thing with mustaches here at the store. He has a wicked mustache. We obviously specialize in hockey cards as well, and we always talk about players with wicked mustaches. And look, if you're watching, if you know who that guy is, it looks like Iron Sheik is beating the crap out of Connor McDavid right now. So anyways, Iron Sheik in almost perfect condition. I'd say he's a 9 out of 10. His feet are good. Everything's good. He's got a lot of color on him, right? So he's got these really cool tights. Doesn't it look like kind of sperm on his belt? Do those not look like sperm?
Yep.
If you look on his belt, it looks like little sperms above his waist there, or below his waist. Just a weird figure. Yeah, I would give him a solid 9 out of 10, though. Probably one of the biggest heels during the day. Volkov and him used to go back and forth with Hogan, and guys like this guy, Corporal Kroschner, looks like a G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe was obviously big at the time in the 80s. That's why we had the crossover with like Sergeant Slaughter. Awesome paint on the Corporal Kroschner. It's a tough one to say. But anyways, doesn't he look like G.I. Joe to you? Just a really cool figure. I'm going to show those too. The backing. His feet are perfect. I would say it's a 9, if not 9.5. Again, just Corporal Kroschner. just in perfect condition almost. We're trying to get through these because we want to show you guys the really cool stuff. Not that this stuff isn't cool. We've got the other SD Jones with the other shirt variation. We had him earlier with the red shirt. So this is the SD Jones with the palm trees on it. A little bit more colorful. Boots have a little bit of wear. He's probably a solid 7 though. His bandana's still good. His shirt's still good. Yeah, solid 7 for condition there. Nothing real special about SD Jones. I don't know why they had multiple versions of him, to be honest. It's like, hey, let's have... I get Hogan because Hogan sold a ton of merch. They could have had multiple versions of Macho Man, but they never did. They're like, hey, let's have multiple versions of SD Jones for some reason.
Could be trying to push him over too, right?
I don't even remember him, honestly. I think he was gone by the time most of his figures came out, or shortly thereafter. So that's it for the loose figures. We will show you some of the other stuff that came with the collection, though. These actually have a ton of value now. So right here we have the Corporal Kroschner backing card. You do see these online. People do collect these. They try and reseal them. They'll find a really good condition figure. It says who it is here, Corporal Kroschner. So this is the backing card for that. These are all in really good shape. I'll just show these quick. We've got another card featuring Brutus the Barber Beefcake. People are always looking for these. As you can see, $6.97 back in the day for the cost at Kmart here in Canada. There's the Corporal Kroschner. Or sorry, that's Brutus Beefcake. See you later. Okay, thank you. Up next, we have George the Animal Steele, the card for George the Animal Steele. Wrestling superstars. These are good to show because we also want to show you guys how cool the artwork was back then. I really like the logo on these. LJN made in China. Looks like 1985 for George the Animal Steele. The posters that came in the bottom, so we've got some of these as well. Here's the Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately, somebody wrote on this poster. It says 302 pounds, hailing from Venice Beach, California. We've got the Hulk Hogan poster. We've got the Tonight at the Coliseum, Miss Elizabeth. This is a really cool poster as well. Unfortunately, Miss Elizabeth passed away quite a few years ago. Actually, I believe before Macho passed away. Hercules Hernandez. We're going to see this one here in a minute. I don't remember Hercules too much. Actually, yeah, I do. He just changed his look. And here he is, SmackDown Jones. Or, sorry, Special Delivery Jones. I keep calling him SmackDown. I apologize for that. I knew it was Special Delivery Jones. I keep calling him SmackDown because obviously WWE has SmackDown now. And every time I see SD, I think SmackDown. We have the main event tonight with Macho Man Randy Savage for the cool poster. We'll show you where these posters came from. We do have evidence of that. Here's the George the Animal Steele appearing tonight in the main event. These posters are really cool. They were inside the packaging when you bought them. So here we have a manager. So when they came as a manager, they'd have this manager here. Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart. They also started putting the extra sticker on right here because a lot of people didn't look at the back to see who it was because it actually didn't say at the front who it was. So obviously somebody got him on sale for $5.99. Original price was $7.99 on the back. Here's the Hillbilly Jim poster. Again, someone wrote on it, unfortunately. 282 pounds from Mudlick, Kentucky. I don't know if that's a real place or not, but his character probably wanted to come from there. Oh, to go back in time and buy the... so this is kind of neat because this has the first series on it. These were the figures in the series. This is the Andre the Giant card. Probably one of the best figures they ever made. Andre, Jimmy Superfly, Hogan, Iron Sheik, and Big John Studd in Series 1. Just really cool to see that. This wasn't on all of them. It looks like it might have been on the first series. We've got the Hulk Hogan now. That's the Hulk Hogan card. You wouldn't think that these have a lot of value, but for those of you that enjoy LJNs and follow them, they do have a ton of value. People are always looking for these. This is one of the things here you used to cut these out, so it's really hard to find the backing or the packaging in good shape. So there is the Hogan. We've seen him earlier with the Terry Funk. So you see they went to, when the further series came out, they went to the multiple backs on them. Pretty much everybody up until then was, this is when they first debuted the managers at the bottom, so they had their own little section. Who would have been the most valuable? Actually, if you look at the back, they actually show George the Animal Steel, and he's actually got black chest hair. So it's something that they might have changed in production and didn't want to put the money into for the color. So he didn't come with any color for his hair on his chest by any means. But probably the most valuable figure on the back of this. These are mostly commons now. I'd say probably, I don't know. It's hard to say. Probably the short hair Andre. He's probably the hardest to find out of those, or the most valuable now. Hillbilly Jim. We got a second Hillbilly Jim card. Actually, this is the first Hillbilly Jim card. We have the Hillbilly Jim poster that came with it. So $7.99 available at Playland. We got some more posters here to round things out. We've got an Andre the Giant. Unfortunately, it's got writing on it. These are beautiful to hang on the wall. 525 pounds from Grenoble, France. Andre the Giant. Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart for the poster. No writing on that one. Very few creases, actually. This one looks like it might have got ripped. It's been retaped a bit. So we have the Brutus the Beefcake. Corporal Kroschner. And the main event, Terry Funk. Before he went into his acting career. I believe Terry Funk is still wrestling. He's like 98 years old. They just kind of wheel him out. Up next, a really nice treat. I'll show this first. These aren't part of they are part of the LJN line, but they're not the big rubber wrestlers. These were some of my favorites as a kid, actually. It's a little bit dusty, but the Wrestling Superstars Thumb Wrestlers. This is still carded in good condition. No rips or anything like that. A little bit of bending on the side here. But I would say it's a solid 8 out of 10 for condition on the card. Maybe a small crease in the corner. But when you're talking about carded stuff, good luck. You're just lucky to find any of it these days. We've got Roddy Piper and Hillbilly Jim. Actually, at the time, Piper was probably a heel. So they put him in there to thumb wrestle against Hillbilly Jim. And it's kind of nice because on the back they actually have the advert for the actual LJNs. And if you look at it here, that's the ring. So I've got a few rings in stock here. I really wish there was a boxed ring. It's one of the only things for my personal collection I'm looking for is the boxed ring with the steel cage. Those will go last. We'll show this one first. It actually has probably the most value. The bubble is lifting on it though. So that's why I'm going to show it first. The Miss Elizabeth carded as the manager. Let's see what looks like $7.99 back when it came new. Not in the greatest condition. This is where the poster would be. The poster that we just showed you would be folded up just in there. So Miss Elizabeth coming at you in 1985. She was probably one of the first managers that they made, honestly. The reason I'm showing this one first, even though it's probably the most valuable if it was in perfect condition, just because it does have the wear on the card, it's coming up. Just a really cool figure, though. It doesn't look like they tried to re-glue it or anything like that. It looked like it just naturally came unglued or someone pulled on it. So the figure inside is clearly mint. The figure inside would never have been touched. It's never been out of the package. So a little bit of a crack in the bubble here too. So not the greatest condition. It's probably like a 4 out of 10 as far as the card goes, but the figure would be 10 out of 10. We're getting into some really nice stuff now. Hercules. Again, the bubble is just a little bit cracked at the top. It's just got a crack right here. But again, it's really, really hard to find any of these carded anyways. Hercules on card. This is the first one I've seen. They're all over eBay and stuff like that, but this is the first one that's ever come through the shop, actually. Again, the poster would be down in here. just due to the crack on the top. If that crack wasn't in the bubble at the top, it'd probably be a solid 8 out of 10. Just a little bit of bending here on the top. But another guy that you don't see a lot of. You see a lot of the managers still carded. As far as I can tell, there's really just a tiny bit of the bubble lifting at the top of this one. This is the Cowboy Bob Orton. If you can see what I'm talking about here, right by my finger. Just a little bit of a lift there on the card itself. Probably like a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 though for the card. Just a little bit. Looks like there might have been a sticker here that someone tried to pull off, so there's a little bit of wear there. Again, the figure inside though would be absolutely mint. This actually looks like it was somebody's Christmas present back in the day because there's still some Christmas paper there. So it looks like somebody had this wrapped at some point back in the day, and there's still a piece of Christmas tape right here. That's unbelievable to see that. This was a little kid's Christmas present back in the day. Really cool, actually. And the guy that's another one with a cracked bubble. The reason I'm showing this card's, it's probably a solid 7, but it does have a crack in the bubble as well. Again, the poster inside, everything comes with it, is the Adrian Adonis figure. Just really, really nice looking figures. For somebody that wants to maybe not break the bank on a perfect condition carded figure, this is definitely a great option for them. Or if somebody just wants to roll the dice and take it out, it is absolutely mint inside. But yeah, probably like a solid 7 on this one. It's starting to come up just a little bit over here, but it's a very heavy figure. So over time, if they had it sitting this way, I could see why the bubble might start to loosen up a bit. They are about 35 years old now, so this is what really had me shocked, actually. So I mentioned the Jake the Snakes. I asked if he had any Hasbros, and he said, actually, I do. I threw a couple on the bottom of the bin for you. So we're talking mint condition Jake the Snake Hasbro figures sitting in the bottom of the bin, to my surprise when I opened it up. If you guys want to see what these things are selling for nowadays, it's pretty crazy. It's in a holder, obviously, like I haven't taken it out yet. But it looks like it's 100% authentic, 100% sealed, no issues with lifting or anything like that. That's probably why it's in the bubble. The other thing I want to show you, if one wasn't enough, that's the English card. There was the second, I believe it's the Spanish card as well. So there's actually 2 Jake the Snake Roberts, different cards there. You have any Jake the Snake?
Just the one clip we heard.
You see, all you have to do to
so
get
Jake
back
the Snake, one of the
is go through David and me.
ring generals back in the day, always good. Had his issues, obviously. I love the back that it says on the English version it says Jake the Snake Roberts, and then on the other version it says Snake El Serpente. I love it. It's just you don't see a lot of the non-English cards, especially around here, especially in Well, they do make it to North America, but they're a little bit harder to find. This one actually has the hook, I believe. So they're different. This one's got the Real Wrestling Action Python Punch, and I think the other one's got the hook. But it actually says Snake El Serpente on the front as well. I didn't see that. But Jake the Snake Roberts, 2 Jake the Snake Roberts sealed Hasbros as kind of like a bonus at the end of things. So I'm pretty happy about that. So that does it for our LJN reveal tonight. If you guys are wondering why I've been looking up so much, my monitor is actually up above me. It's not that I'm scared of looking at the camera or anything like that. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and checking out the LJN reveal. We had some cool sound effects. If there's anything that you guys liked about the video or didn't like, obviously, like, my wrestling knowledge is only so much. We do own a sports card store here, but I'm pretty knowledgeable with the wrestlers. But I don't remember a lot of those guys. Ted Arcedi, I don't remember ever seeing him wrestle. Obviously, probably about 95% of those guys I can recall wrestling matches for them. But, you know, they were one of my favorite toys as a kid, and I'm sure they're your favorite toy as well, especially if you're watching this. I love the Hasbro line, so I really enjoyed getting those Jake the Snake figures. And like I said, I had a conversation the other day. not everybody's doing well right now. A lot of people are struggling, and one of the things that you can do to cheer yourself up is go back to better times and remember better times. So a lot of people like to collect the stuff they had when they were a kid. So it's one of those things where you walk in the house and you see it and you feel a lot better about things. I wish we could all go back to that feeling. I get to live it every day. I live the dream here, having a toy store, card shop. Brandon will attest, like, we have a lot of fun doing this. This is actually a special video for us. We're usually doing a ton of card breaks. We're doing a ton of other stuff, sports related. Make sure to tune in if you enjoy sports talk. Make sure you tune in on Monday nights to Out of Bounds, our new talk show, live here on YouTube. We also do singles night on Thursday nights for cards if you're interested. But anybody out there that's really interested in any of these LJNs can message. They will be going out in the store probably in the next few days or so. Some of the stuff might be going online as well. But as you can see there, our email address, rocketsportscards9@yahoo.com, is up on the screen. If you enjoy content like this, whenever we get collections like this, we will be putting them on YouTube. We love content on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get as many subs as possible. If you enjoy the content and the collectible side of things, definitely do so. But for tonight, I think we're gonna sign off. If I want to hear that Legion of Doom one more time. One of the most famous sound bites of all time. So you guys have a good night, and thank you for tuning into our special presentation of the LJN collection. Next time I get another one in, you guys will be seeing it. We'll talk wrestling again. Maybe we'll see some Hasbros again. I just love it all, guys, and you guys have a good night.